time, we'd like to say hello to all our viewers in Sweden.
Hello and welcome to the Euro What. I'm Ben Smith and I'm joined today by Mike McComb. Hey Mike.
Hello.
We are a pair of Americans trying to make sense of the Eurovision Song Contest, and for this bonus episode we'll be talking about the Melfest final. And hey, we're in the same physical space for once. That's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah,
and in order to accomplish that, we had to go to a different time zone.
We rather than meeting in the middle, which would be smart, we both are in Las Vegas for a trivia thing, so why not? I had room in my suitcase. Why not throw the microphone in there?
Yeah, and Melfest is heading toward its inevitable conclusion.
Yeah. We are in the midst of Super Saturday 2, Electric Boogaloo, this time with Iceland. And Sweden has done all of its second chance business and determined its final 12, that feels like a lot.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they would cut down to 4 in Andre Johnson and then have another vote to either cut it down to 1 or 2 and have them move
just
on.
Have that nice 10 in the final.
Yeah, especially since only one person has ever gotten out of Andre Johnson and then won.
Yeah, it's not a great position to be in. Just looking at other Melfest news, ratings still seem down on the first episode had better ratings than usual, but then just as a whole ratings seem to be down this year. I think they're still trying to figure out how to shake Melfest up.
Yeah, I know they were trying some stuff last year, rebranding. None of that took. So
nope, that did not take. This year they're playing around with the voting, and I kind of get it. And it's interesting having that heartbeat thing in the corner, but I don't remember what color is what age group. All I know is that it somehow affects who places in 5th and who places in 6th for the most part. Just looking at the data.
Yeah, while we were watching the show as we record this, they did tweet out the graph of what each color heart stands for, and it made me realize that I didn't really see the purple heart all that much, which is the 30 to 45 age group, so that's interesting.
30 to 45 has other things they're doing with their Saturdays.
Right, so, again, when that data drop comes out, it's going to be fascinating.
It's going to be real interesting, yeah. Because who knows, maybe they were very engaged, but that was just all 15 of them. Anyways, the voting is done. The second chancers are selected, and we have a final running order. And I kind of love that they showed us the final running order and where they were slotting things in.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was nice. It was nice to know that they're thinking about this, a week out from the final. But also, I got to put my puzzle brain to work and think, okay, then we need to slot between this artist and this artist. Who's going to win the duel? Yeah,
and by the time it got to the final duel, it's just you don't want to have this person next to that person because that's just not going to work.
Yeah, that's two of the same. But yeah, let's dive into these 12 entries.
Yes.
So the first one that we have is Henrik Fjällgren with Norrsken. Okay, so I like Henrik Fjällgren as a performer. I think it's awesome that, much like we've seen with Denmark and with other nations, that they are bringing in indigenous languages. The Sami people are a big part of Sweden, and I think it's super cool. This is not my favorite Henrik Fjällgren song.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to latch onto since there's not a traditional chorus to latch onto, and also it not being in English makes it particularly difficult for someone like me who does not speak any of the Nordic languages.
Yes.
But yeah, it was interesting because I've been kind of putting Melfest on the back burner this season just to kind of broaden my Eurovision horizons, and I was listening to this track on Spotify and wasn't really latching onto it, but then it was just okay, maybe I should pull up the performance and see why this one is so popular. And the stage performance is very impressive.
Yeah, the stage performance is impressive. there's something for me that, like, where when I watch something like Melfest with a nation like Sweden that takes this stuff very seriously, is which one of these feels like I can see it 3 months from now on stage in the host city, because with Sweden, like, usually what you see there is what you're going to see in 3 months. And, like, this performance is impressive, but somehow, like, the combo of song and performance doesn't quite click for me as something I see in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, I mean, because they're using the full Melfest stage, which I'm guessing is going to be at least twice the size of the Tel Aviv stage.
Yes, the Melfest stage this year is very long.
Yeah. And I don't think the backing dancers are also backing singers, at least in the Melfest performance, and that's not going to work in Tel Aviv. So there are some challenges that are going to come up if this is the one that ends up winning. Now, if it ends up winning, I wouldn't necessarily object to it. It would be way different than what Sweden has sent.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like I like it from that perspective that it's very different from what Sweden usually sends.
But it also just kind of feels very Eurovision 2019 in that nobody knows what to send, and it's just kind of like I don't know, this?
Yeah, is this what we like in 2019?
Yeah,
so who knows?
So the next one in the running order is Lisa Ajax with her song Torn.
I am torn, build me up, burn me up, dead alive, 'cause you broke me to pieces, you broke me to pieces.
And Lisa Ajax, she is a Melfest veteran, she's a Pop Idol veteran. This feels like a very Pop Idol song, but I don't think it's a great Melfest song, or I don't think it's a great showcase for her. Like, no. I am a fan of hers, and this one's just kind of
This is, like, interesting that, like, I have the same note I had with her as I do with the Henrik Fjällgren, which is I saw her 2 years ago, and I like that song better.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that's going to be a theme that comes up a few times in this episode, and... Yeah.
Like, it's great. I completely agree with you. It's, like, not the best showcase for her vocals. It's a very one-note song. Yeah. And I just like her to have something fun. Yeah. And, this one is definitely her last
song
was very fun and, like, was not TV-friendly because...
No.
It would... Well, but on the other hand, like, Robin Bengstrom had the same issue where he was using profanity that wouldn't make sense, that ended up not making it, and the song suffered.
Sure.
That was the only reason. It's there, and I think in its duel, I liked it a little bit more of the two. But yeah, this is one of the second chance run qualifiers, and it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand why it ended up in the 2 spot, and which is really unfortunate. It's kind of like a vote of no confidence for Lisa Ajax, and that's not fair to her. So
yeah.
Sorry, Lisa. Hope to see you next year. I really do like her.
Yeah. Next we have Mohombi and Hello. The song is fine, and the performance feels like a twist on Heroes that's not that interesting to me.
Yeah, I think this is maybe, if not my least... let me start again. I don't like this entry. My first note is that the stage performance can take a seat because, it is just a rehashing of Heroes. Hopefully without the plagiarism that that performance had last time, where they suddenly had to change the cartoon character. But lyrically, the song makes no sense. Like, the verses do not connect with the bridge, which just goes into this whole, like, tarot fortune-telling theme, which does not connect to the chorus at all, and the chorus is just repeating the word hello a dozen times, and it's just like, it really could be any 2-syllable word.
The writing on this song, so one thing that I think, spoke about is the
Hit Parade?
Yeah, the Hit Parade podcast went through this great sort of episode talking about Max Martin and the Swedish method of songwriting, and this feels very mathematically precise. Like, it's hitting all the beats in a way that's pleasing, but if you look at the lyrics, it makes no sense whatsoever.
And, like, this is just so egregiously nonsensical.
It has, like, a good beat to it, but there are other songs this year that have good beats to them.
Yeah, and it's definitely not going to solve Sweden's problem of sending a handsome person in leather pants to Eurovision. Like, this just feels like a continuation of what they've been doing the last 4 or 5 years now, and they're starting to get into trouble. Like, it did not work last year, and this one could be a real problem, which is a shame because I do like Mohombi's voice. Like, I think it's a good voice, but this is a terrible song.
As a singer, like him. Song, hate it.
Yeah. The next one.
Oh man, yeah.
Spoiler.
Just teed that one right up.
Yeah. Lina Hedlund's Victorious. This is another one that is going to be sending Sweden several steps back if it goes forward.
Okay, so I've been sort of giving the Melfest updates on the show. And there were, a couple weeks ago, there was a week where my radar was just off, and I said one of the things I really liked had been in the bottom, and one of the things I thought was going to be 7th place made it immediately. This is that song.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is that song where I'm like, okay, cool. This is like Eurovision a decade ago, and it's not going to go through because this is 2019, and it went straight to the final. And let's say, no, it's just very done.
Yeah, I mean, my question is this just sounds like a Cascada song.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering if people just want Cascada to release a new album, where's she been?
Yeah, you can just listen to Cascada. It's there.
Yeah.
But this is. Well, no, the Cascada song was glorious. It wasn't Cascada's song Victorious, but no, it's Glorious. Which was
a Sweden ripoff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It just goes full circle here.
Yeah. The snake eats its tail.
Yeah. Nom 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 nom.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lina Hedlund, don't like it.
Yep.
Next up, Bishara and On My Own.
Till I can get by on my own. Until I can make it without you. Don't let go. Till I get.
I'm just glad that Donny Osmond has bounced back from finishing as runner-up on the Masked Singer.
Second place finish. So. No, I completely get that vibe from Bishara. Just very hardworking. It felt like kind of the opposite of an effortless performance in that you see all of the effort going into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very effortful, and also it reminded me of a write-up, Stereogum, the site that you mentioned, I think, a couple of times on the show. Is doing this series about all of the number one songs. And they did a write-up of the Jackson 5's I'll Be There, where it was talking about how this song how that song is kind of weird in that it's very adult for...
And you have a child. Yes, I completely see that with this.
Yeah, and there's just a major disconnect here, and it's like, what is this kid getting up to? And why is there so much angst?
Yeah, why do you have this much emotional pain about relationships at such a young age? But no, I totally get that, and that's a great comparison, is that the song feels very much in the vein of I'll Be There.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a good song. It's just I don't know. There's just that disconnect.
I'm dealing with mental discord when I look at the performance.
Yeah, and it's enough where it's distracting. Mm-hmm. And do you think this one has a chance of going through? I feel like it could sneak in.
I feel like everybody could be focusing on 2 or 3 other songs, and this one could sneak through to win it.
Mm-hmm. That'll be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like in this list of 12 it's the worst choice.
No.
But it's not necessarily the one that I would think right away.
Right, and I don't know. Again, going back to the Sweden's problem of sending the same thing over and over again. This one is slightly outside of that lane. It's kind of straddling that lane.
It feels very Ingrosso-esque, though.
Right. This one you should keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah.
Next on the list is Annan Bergendahl with Ashes to Ashes.
There's a new sun and it's rising up from the dark. I'm gonna live, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna burn. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Ashes to ashes again.
So this was another one that advanced from the Anders Hansen round. What do you think of this one, Ben?
I like this one. I thought that this one was going to go through in its first appearance. I figured it was going to be one of the ones that got there. So I'm very pleased to see it in the final. I like the performance. It suits her well, and she has the unlucky position of being the only Swedish performer to make it to Eurovision and not get through in forever. Mm-hmm. So I totally see why she's kind of fighting to come back, but. I don't know, watching this performance the second time through today, it's kind of a little mush-mouthed, at least lyrically. I can't quite make out what she's going for, but I like kind of the Casey Musgrave vibe of it.
Yeah, kind of Casey Musgrave meets 70s Cher.
Yes, which is very much what Casey Musgraves is doing in a lot of her performances. So yeah, like...
Yeah, and I kind of get the mushmouth thing, and yeah, I mean, particularly in her second chance round performance, I couldn't get a sense of who she was performing for. Like, this, I really like the studio track of this, but like watching it on TV, she's not really performing for the arena audience. Mm-hmm. She's not really performing for the TV audience, and I'm just having kind of like a tough time connecting with her, even though I like the song.
Yeah, I like the song, but yeah, I totally get that from performances. That I don't, because you want to have some mix of both the people who are in this stadium and like it doesn't really connect.
Yeah, and I think also it doesn't help that every time that she moves on stage, she's just in a deeper part of a forest, and it's just like, oh, she's just gonna get like eaten by underbrush or something. Stay with us, Anna, please.
Okay, so also qualifying for the second chance round and following that song is Nano and Chasing Rivers.
I don't wanna stay at the bottom for the rest of my life, and no one's gonna know the way back better than now, better than now.
And oh boy, this was the duel in the Andre Johnson duels today, where I was just like, could there be like a voting glitch and nobody goes through? Because I did not like this song in its original performance, and did not like today's performance of it better.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it for me is that Nano's style genre is just not for me, and I don't think it's ever going to be for me, and that's not a criticism. Like, I think what he does well. It's just what he does is not something I want, and like I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
Other than like question, like, what are they going to do if this were to win? Because there are too many people on stage.
Yeah, because it's him. There are 6 backing singers, which is already 7 people, and there's also like the clips of the kids, which I'm assuming are live and are not like a pre-taped bit. Although who knows?
Right. So his first performance way back in week 1, I want to say.
Week 1. Yeah,
like, I don't know if he was fighting a cold that day or something. It's just like not a great vocal at all. And I was surprised that he managed to qualify for Andre Johnson. And then for his second chance performance, the vocal wasn't really that much better. Yeah. I agree that this was a duel where it's just like, does anybody actually win? So, and he did really well the last time that he competed at Melfest. So I'm wondering if that's just kind of riding on that high from his previous appearance. But yeah, the continuing success of this song is a little puzzling. Next up is Hanna, Ferm, and LIAMOO with Hold You. So this one's interesting to me, just in terms of history of contestants that Sweden has sent to Eurovision. The last time that Sweden sent a non-soloist was in 2007.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, and the last time that it was a duet was 2003. So,
wow.
Yeah, so this one's different just in terms of the composition of who's competing.
Yeah.
Right, so what do you think of the song?
I think this is like one of my favorite, like I have like 3 entries, I think, at this point that I would like to see of this batch. And this is one of them. And I think part of it is that Sweden has sent solo performers, and this is a duet, and it feels very different for them. There's one, like, lyrical note, like, right at the beginning where she's mentioning something about 2017 that I don't like. But, like, that's my one quibble, and I think otherwise it's a really powerful between the two of them. They're both very good vocally. They're kind of doing an over-singing thing, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for Eurovision. And like the actual staging feels of the various stagings we've seen has been one of the better.
I agree with that. The song does feel current, like it does feel very 2019. I'm not finding it particularly sticky. Like I can't even think of like the chorus of it now as we're discussing it, and that's a little concerning. Okay. Like I think particularly with Sweden's reputation at the contest. Yeah, like owning the music industry. Like I'm just expecting everything to just kind of stick with you. And I do agree that they are both very strong vocally. And yeah, it might also just be a case of I just need to have a little bit more time with this song. And I think there's stuff that they can work with here.
Yeah.
And that if this were to advance, I think it would do well.
Yeah,
and
I think it would do well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not that I'm not excited about this one. It's I would not object if this one won.
It's something I think would do well, and I think it's something that they wouldn't need to modify the staging a bunch.
No.
It's like backing vocalists are somewhere, big structure with various diaphanous sheets hanging from it. Mm-hmm. Big old wind machine behind that.
There we go. Yes.
Like
they will be the 2019 Curtain Monsters.
Yes. Okay, so next in the running order is Malou Prytz and I Do Me. And this one's weird for me because I really like it, but I also don't want it to win.
Oh.
Like, I like it, but it doesn't feel like a Eurovision song to me. It feels like this is something that should be popping up on Pop Justice's Friday songs list for me, when they're keeping track of what's going on in Swedish pop and UK pop and all those things. As like an emerging artist, I should be paying attention to. Rather, because this song is great and it feels very 2019, but it doesn't feel Eurovision.
I'm glad you said that, because that was kind of what my notes were, where it's just like, yeah, this has kind of like Bieber and Carly Rae Jepsen energy behind it. So I don't know, very Canadian, but like there's still that little Ace Wilder mix in there. But yeah, like the studio track is a lot of fun. Like,
it's really, really fun.
Yeah. But then, like, seeing it performed on stage, like, the level of production in the studio track is just not going to translate to the stage, and it just kind of loses some of that sparkle. Mm-hmm. I do love the wardrobe of the performance.
The bright yellow, kind of referencing Clueless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
feels very fresh.
Yeah, it's a very fun vibe, but yeah, it doesn't feel very Eurovision-y at all.
Like, and this just feels like, again, this feels like a very standard Swedish pop track, and that's great, and I love it, but I don't want it to win. I don't see it as something that would...
I think it would be very confusing among a whole bunch of other Eurovision entries, which, I mean, that could work to its advantage if it were to win, but it would just be confusing.
Yeah. Is like, this has been the one that I figured was going to have to fight for its way through. Anna Johnson was very pleased it made it to the finals directly. And then I've been waiting for like the studio track, because it's like, again, like this is the sort of pop that I look for and like, but the more I listen to the more I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want this to, I like this song, but I don't want it to win.
All right, so next one we'll talk about is John Lundvik with Too Late for Love. I'm curious what you think about this one, because I have thoughts.
Okay. I, like I've said, I have, like, 3 favorites where I think if any of them go, I'll be happy. This is the one I think is my current favorite of the 3.
Okay.
I like the general vibe of the song. I like the gospel-y feel of the backing singers. I also, just as somebody who just thinks about this in terms of the whole competition, John Lundvik co-wrote the UK entry. Mm-hmm. And, like, that one's fine and actually has been growing on me, but like it's clearly meant for somebody with a John Lundvik like voice, and I think if I have to compare the two, like this one blows it out of the water. Yeah, but I like it a lot. I think it has a good feel. I don't love it in the idea of the visual of Sweden sending another solo male singer for like the 3rd, 4th year in a row. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's part of what my issue is. The other part is that this really feels like an up-tempo version of Austria. Mm-hmm.
Which did well.
But it's also what Austria sent last year. So, it's... I like this song a lot as well. And like I liked Austria's entry last year too. It's just
there's a lot of similarity.
Yeah, and I guess it's also just kind of coming like since Austria caught everybody by surprise. I think I think it is kind of a continuation of the I don't know this.
It is, but like it could be Sweden going, oh wow, people really liked that last year. Here's more of that,
right?
And we made it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, this could be, like, the science entry.
One thing I liked from the performance, though, even though it is one solo singer is that the backing singers are visible on stage.
Yeah.
Is Sweden, I love them, but they do this thing where like you don't see all the backing vocals, and I like seeing how the sausage. I like knowing here's all the people who made this song happen live.
Yeah, and like they're part of the performance, not just visible on stage,
like,
but like they've got personality.
They have personality, and they're part of it.
Yeah, and that's been a trend this year among the national finals, which I've really enjoyed. I won't get into it now because we should stick with Melfest, but a topic for a later day.
Yeah. Okay, so next up is Wiktoria and Not With Me.
They keep telling me, girl, you'll be fine. But how can I be when you're not with me? You said.
So I really liked Wiktoria 2 years ago. Like, I was hoping that one was going to sneak in instead of Robin Bengtström, just because it was like a weird country twist from Eurovision that I hadn't heard.
Mm-hmm. I also really like Wiktoria. Mm-hmm. I think she sings the song very well. Mm-hmm. I don't like the song.
Okay.
And I think it just feels like a paint by numbers Christina Aguilera reject.
I was going to bring up, it feels like something that gets sung at like a VH1 Divas Live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean it suits her voice well, but like I loved her entry Save Me, and I would love for something like that to be.
Yes, I really want to see her on the Eurovision stage. I'm not sure I want to see her with this one, although I do like what they did with the staging on this one. Like the water feels appropriately dramatic for the song, and like I was a little disappointed when I realized that this was going to be like more of a ballad tempo than something like Save Me. But yeah, so I was a little disappointed when I heard this one was going to be a slower tempo, but I was very impressed by her voice.
Yeah. And I would love to see her at Eurovision. I won't be surprised if this is what gets her there. Like this one, particularly with the whole rain effect, seems to be really resonating with folks.
This is like my top 3 right now, I think. And I will save that for the end.
Okay. Well, let's get to the end then. The last entry that will be competing at the Melfest final will be Arvingarna with I Do.
I do, nu står jag redo här framför dig. Och inser att jag älskar dig. I do, du gör mig lycklig.
Okay, so as like a weird way to lead off, I have I have a good chunk of the Wikipedia page for this band like stuck with me for some reason. Okay, so Arvingarna has represented Sweden before. I want to say back in either 91 or 93. They are like essentially like a dance hall band, sort of like there's like this whole genre that if you go to the Wikipedia page, it's very unhelpful and just tells you it's the band that does dance hall music. And it's like, yes, I know that. The word is structured that way. But anyway, so Arvingarna actually means the heirs because they are all children of parents that had been in dance hall bands.
Okay.
Which is interesting. But again, like they represent Sweden in the 90s, early 90s, and came in 7th. And I kind of like, with a song that feels similar to this one, but maybe a little less, like this one reminded me of the Four Seasons and other kind of like Motown-y things that were going on in the 60s, although bringing things back to the Stereogum, I've been listening to a bunch of that stuff as they've gone through things.
Right.
Where I like this song, I don't necessarily see it winning, but I like seeing it in the diversity of the competition in the final, just showing a range of...
Yeah, and that is interesting to hear a little bit about their history with it, just because... There always seems to be at least 1 or 2 entries in national finals every year that are like the throwback group or, I guess...
There was an entire series, it felt like, every week where we had there was like a particular range of older performers. And they did not do well. They were usually placing 6th in with the weird competition rules.
Yeah, but not even just the older, more veteran performers. But people who are just going to be like, oh, I'm going to be doing big band, a big band era song, or what was that German entry? Oh, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, that, where it's just this is is not we are not bringing back swing dancing, please. No,
we did that once in the 90s, and it was enough.
Yeah, but I mean, this feels authentic for them.
Yes.
It's you can tell that this is their style. They're very good at what they do. It still feels like something that you would see on a PBS pledge drive.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah, and just being I'm clapping along in the audience. It's like it's. Oh, I just want to hide my head in a tote bag.
I have seen so many of those specials where like the band each band comes up to do their one song because they all had one song, and it's just people clapping in the audience because they recognize the song.
Yeah,
and it's great, and like again, like it feels very authentic for them. I see it placing like middle to low middle, depending on how the scoring system shakes things up this year.
Yeah,
but I think it's very competent. I don't know. It's nice to have like a vocal group that has the vocals to do this sort of thing.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that they've been to Eurovision before, like having that kind of experience, I think will help because their staging was interesting and
really
engaging.
Good.
Yeah,
and it was a way where because I feel like last year we had a group Roland's where the whole thing seemed to be just sort of making this style of music kind of a joke and doing like the joke version of that, and this feels like the authentic version. And they're showing that, no, it's not like this weird silver shiny stuff. Mm-hmm. Like firing on all cylinders. Like you can do this in a way that still feels fresh.
Right. All right. So those are the 12
Those are the 12
entries.
So I have my top 3 right now. What would you say are your top particular final, Mike?
For some reason, I did not come prepared with that with that information in mind, but. Like I said, I like Wiktoria, and she sings the song well, and even though I don't particularly like the song, like I think the performance will carry that through. So these are not in any particular order. So in terms of what would be best for Sweden at Eurovision, I'm going to go with Wiktoria, John Lundvik, and Jan Henrik Fjällgren.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel okay with those.
Okay. You feel... Okay.
Final answer.
Okay, cool. This wasn't a quiz to see which ones of mine you picked, but you got 2 out of 3.
Okay, all right.
The ones that I sort of hinted at when we were talking about Wiktoria, that I have 3 where I think, however the judging works out, if it's one of those 3, I'll be fine with it. Although in order by which one I think I would prefer, John Lundvik, Hanna, Ferm, and LIAMOO.
Okay.
And then Wiktoria.
Okay.
And then maybe stick Jan Henrik Fjällgren there in like 4th because I think it's cool that he is focusing on bringing Sami.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like this one. I think that this one is not the one to bring it to Eurovision with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you know, I will give bonus points for things that are not in English.
Yes.
And yeah, I would say that Hanna and LIAMOO would be probably my number 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like that one, I think just because Sweden hasn't sent anything other than ages.
Right.
Would be particularly nice. I can see that song doing well with lots of audiences. Same with John Lundvik because, as we kind of pointed out, this is a lot of what Austria did.
Right.
And Austria did very well.
Yeah.
And if it's still something that is really working for people, like...
Absolutely. Yeah. So... It should be a good final.
Yeah,
at least when it gets to the scoreboard part of it, because it's going to be a tight race, I think.
Yeah, and like watching the Swedish scoreboard is always exciting because and I'm so glad they brought Eurovision as a whole, just in terms of making the scoring interesting.
Yes.
So I think that has not changed, and I think it'll be very interesting to see what Sweden ends up sending. It'll be interesting to see how the world receives that, and hopefully we will not have like another Anna Bergendahl on our hands where they don't make it to the final. Oh,
that would be so sad if
it
is Anna Bergendahl.
That would be so sad. No.
Oh. And we just threw that out into the universe.
Yeah.
We were so sorry. I might cut this.
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode of The Euro What. Thank you for listening. The Euro What podcast is hosted by Ben Smith, that's me, and Mike McComb.
That's me.
You can find us on our website at eurowhat.com and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at EuroWhat. If you'd like to contact us by email, we can be reached at esc@whatelseison.tv. We'd love to hear your questions and comments. You can subscribe to The Euro What on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, the podcast app of your choice. It's in so many places. Rating and reviewing our podcast when you subscribe also helps other Eurovision fans find us more easily. Word of mouth is still the best way to get folks to listen, so please be sure to tell your friends about the Euro What podcast.
We'll be back next week to try and make sense of what's new in Eurovision.